Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. FPL Consult here, and in today's video I'm going to share with you guys my latest Game Week 1 draft for the 24-25 season. I have been trying to fit Haaland into my draft. If you saw the first draft video, I did not have Haaland, but in today's video, a bit of a spoiler, there will be Salah and Haaland in this draft, and I'll talk through the areas where I've decided to compromise in just to fit these two players in. But in general, I think this squad, I would be quite okay with it if I do go into Game Week 1 with this team. So if you guys do enjoy this video, please drop a like and also subscribe as well if you are new around here. Also, at the end of the video, we will be taking a look at the AI rating for my latest draft. So I will be dropping it into the Fantasy Football Hub My Team Tool. And recently, they launched a feature where you can just import the screenshot of your team into the app, and then you can just load your 11 players or your 15 players already in there. You don't have to pick them out one by one. So it's a really cool feature, and there's an AI rating for you as well to tinker around. So if you're interested in that, it will be at the end of the video. So getting on with my team as it looks right now for Game Week 1, I've made a couple of changes here and there, so I'll talk through where I've gone different. So in nets, I've gone with Matt Sells for now. It could be Carlos Miguel, it could also be Sanchez, so that's a position that I haven't nailed down yet. But in terms of choosing a goalkeeper for this draft, the approach that I've taken is really looking at the combinations of players that I want. So when I look at the player combinations here, would I rather someone like Matt Sells in goal and then Munoz in defense versus going for the Crystal Palace keeper, which is Henderson, and then going for the Nottingham Forest defender in Murillo to replace Munoz there. So when I look at these combinations, I think we can agree Sells and Munoz is the pair that's likely going to get us more points as compared to Henderson and Murillo. So that's really how I've taken the approach of going for the keeper here, and that's why Sells is in goal. So I cover the Nottingham Forest defense there. They have decent fixtures to start the season, and then of course later on down the line, if I do need to make a change to the keeper, with the number of transfers we're able to roll this season, I think maybe it's not so severe that we have to make a keeper change if needed. And obviously, the other alternatives that I mentioned just now, like Henderson, I would prefer going for the Crystal Palace defense. Sanchez, no one really knows if he's definitely going to be the number one, because there are strong rumors that Chelsea are going to sign another goalkeeper. And if that's the case, then obviously, what is the price that keeper is going to come in at? Is he going to start instead of Sanchez? And there will be a lot of confusion there. So for now, as of the latest draft that I have, with all the information, I think Sells is the one I'm going for currently. In defense, I have Munoz, Mykolenko, and Vardiol. So the key exclusion here is Trent Alexander-Arnold from my previous draft. But obviously, given that I want to fit Haaland into the team, something has to give. And for now, the way that I've gone about doing it is, instead of dropping my midfielders, I've dropped Trent down to someone like Munoz. Now, again, Munoz to begin with is someone that may leave the team for someone like Anderson if I want to bank that extra 0.5 million. But as you see on the bench, right, with that extra 0.5 million, I can do quite a bit. I can upgrade Winks from 4.5 to someone like Morgan Rogers at 5 million, who's much more explosive compared to Winks. So it's really a question of how worth it I think this 0.5 million is. For the time being, I am alright to spend it on Munoz because he definitely has better attacking threat than Anderson. And I think looking at the way that he's gone off after the season playing for Colombia, he looks pretty decent as an attacking outlet. And Crystal Palace's defense is still one of the better mid-tier defenses. So that's why I've chosen Munoz here in place of Trent, and obviously that extra 2 million saving because Trent is 7 million. So the extra 2 million saving goes to fund going for Haaland up front. Now, Mykolenko and Vardiol, so I won't talk too much about Vardiol because he hasn't left my draft. And I think he's someone that I'm not too keen on compromising, because I look at Man City's fixtures. Yes, they are a mixed bag in terms of the first maybe 6 game weeks, but there is a period from game week 2 to game week 4 where they have really good fixtures. I think Vardiol is definitely someone that can pick up a lot of clean sheets there. And if he does play as attacking like he did last season, towards the end of last season, when Pep kind of finalized the role that he was going to play, I think that kind of attacking outlet is in an elite attack like Man City is something I can't really ignore. So Variol is still here for 6 million and Mykolenko at 4.5 million. The thinking behind him is, yes, he has Brighton at home in game week 1. That's an alright fixture. And in terms of rotation pairing, Mykolenko and Konza, the Everton and Aston Villa pairing is pretty decent when we rotate these players. So that's also the thinking behind going for Konza there as my 4.5 million defender first on the bench. And then in terms of the other options on the bench that I haven't mentioned, Everson is just the 4.0 million bench for the keeper. And then wings, as I've mentioned, if I decide to bank the extra 0.5 million by going for Anderson instead of Munoz, then wings could very well be someone like Morgan Rogers as well. And then last on the bench is Harwood Bellis from Southampton. He seems to be the default 4.0 million pick. And I think the game week 2 fixture of him is pretty good if I do decide to start Harwood Bellis instead of maybe Mykolenko and Konza, who have slightly tougher fixtures in game week 2, I could very well do that. So that's the thinking behind the goalkeepers and my defenders. Let's now take a look at the midfield. So in midfield, not too different from the first draft. Again, I have Nkunku, Salah, Gordon, Eze. The only exclusion here is Phil Foden from the previous draft, and it's simply because if I've already gone for Haaland, I don't think I would be so keen to triple up on Man City from the get-go because they do have a mixed bag of fixtures. So that's why if I've already gone for Haaland, which is again a bit of a spoiler, I've decided to remove Foden, who is also quite expensive at 9.5 million. So the cost saving by dropping Foden to Harry Winks, who's only 4.5, it again goes to fund the Haaland move. Now in terms of these 4 midfielders here that we have on the screen, the players that I haven't budged on is really Eze and Gordon. I mean, this is a Haaland and Salah draft, so I won't speak too much about Salah because he's someone I think is going to be the best captain for game week 1, so he's pretty much locked. I'm just making different drafts here, and I've realized also that I'm not too keen on budging on Eze and Gordon for various reasons. I mean, Eze, I won't go on too much, but he's again nailed for 90 minutes. On penalties, likely going to be the talisman for Crystal Palace. They have a good mix of fixtures coming up in the start of the season as well. So I do think Eze is someone that can do really well. For Gordon, the thinking behind him is 7.5 million. He's playing Southampton in the first game. That's already a first game that I think Newcastle can do very well in. And then obviously we know what Gordon can do. So at 7.5 million, he also feels to me like he's slightly underpriced, or at least he's worth the money that I'm paying for there. So the other player that I just want to mention in this midfield, which we haven't spoken about, is Nkunku. So in the recent press conference by Enzo Maresca, he has said that Nkunku is playing really well of late. I mean, we did see in a couple of preseason games as well, Nkunku has already scored. He has been in good form, according to Maresca as well. He's the exact words are that he can play in multiple positions, and he just does look really good as well. So I think Nkunku at 6.5 million to cover the set of Chelsea fixtures, which after this Man City game in game week 1 are incredibly good. I think it's fine, and obviously he is 4 million cheaper than Cole Palmer, who surprisingly I haven't had in my draft. Even though I know he's about 56% owned in the whole game, but Nkunku is the Chelsea midfielder I've chosen to go for here. Again, much cheaper than Cole Palmer. So there we go with these midfield 4. Let's take a look now at the forwards. So up front, I have Isak, Haaland, and Chris Wood. So as I've mentioned, this is a Salah-Haaland draft, so obviously Haaland's going to be here. It's good to have him in the team. I mean, it feels a little bit safer, but as you can see, and we'll discuss slightly towards the end of this video, after I've gone through this whole draft in totality, the couple of compromises that I've had to make around the different areas of this draft, which I may or may not be too happy with come the game week 1 deadline, right? So Haaland is in the team for now, and Isak as well is someone that I also haven't budged on. Southampton at home, I mean, he's probably going to be someone that is going to start consistently for Newcastle in the number 9 position, because Callum Wilson, again, nursing a bit of a back injury that seems to be going to keep him out for the first few game weeks. So Isak there. And Haaland, the player that I know is going to turn some hits here is Chris Wood. So I've taken a look at their fixtures. Again, Nottingham Forest, who I also have Matt Sells back there. Nottingham Forest do have a good run of fixtures here. So game week 1, it's Bournemouth at home. Game week 2, it's Southampton away. And game week 3, it's Wolves at home. So a very good set of first 3 fixtures. Game week 4 is slightly tougher. They play Liverpool. But in game week 5 and game week 6, it's Brighton and Fulham respectively. So a very good set of fixtures for him. Chris Wood does come off to me as someone that at 6 million could provide really good value. He has scored quite a number of goals in pre-season. Again, and Nottingham Forest do look pretty good. Attackingly, in the last few games of last season, we did see them pick up quite a number of goals. Players like Callum Hudson-Odoi, also options in the midfield. I think Anthony Elanga maybe less so. But yeah, Chris Wood, he seems to me like he's going to get quite a bit of points in the first few game weeks. So that's the thinking behind him. And obviously, he's here in place of Havertz. So again, let's talk about this whole draft in totality. The compromises here that I've made when I compare it to the previous draft is that the Arsenal players are missing from this draft. I don't have Havertz, neither do I have Saka in midfield, neither do I have any Arsenal defenders. So that's really an area that I'm not too happy with. I mean, I would try to fit him in. I would try to fit an Arsenal attacker in. But it is quite difficult because the Arsenal attackers, aside from Havertz, they're all quite expensive in the midfield range, right? So again, compromises have to be made to fit Salah and Haaland in. And for now, it seems like the two main sacrifices that I've had to make is the lack of Arsenal players and also Trent being out of the team, right, and dropping him to someone like a Munoz who also has decent attacking threat, but obviously Trent is miles ahead in terms of the potential that he can bring, and Liverpool's fixtures are really good as well. So those are the two main sacrifices that I'm not too happy with. But aside from that, I think this draft would cover most of the other bases. So this draft would cover the rotation pairings in defense. It would also have a Man City defender there. There's a good attacking fullbacks like Munoz. Konza is there for the rotation. In midfield, also pretty good options with good value. And Nkunku, Gordon, and Eze. Salah is going to be the captain for game week 1. And then up front, it's Isak and Haaland and Chris Wood as a bit of a differential. Because again, I would want to start game week 1 with 1 or 2 players that most FPL managers don't go for. So Chris Wood could be that one for this draft. And yeah, there we go. So I think overall, a pretty balanced squad. Is just that, again, those two areas that I'm compromising on. But let's now take a look at the AI rating for the draft, which is pretty high. So let's load it into the Fantasy Football Hub My Team Tool. So taking a look at the Fantasy Football Hub My Team Tool, if you do want to check it out for yourself, the link is in the description. It's free to just go in there and load your team in with your screenshot, as I said at the start of the video, and then your whole team would be here. So I've loaded my team into the tool, and I have a 94% team rating. So of all the drafts that I've come up with recently, that I'm happy with, of course, this is the one that has gotten quite a high rating, 94%. I think this is likely going to come down to having both Salah and Haaland in. Possibly the AI likes that there are good captaincy options for a good number of game weeks. As long as you have Salah and Haaland, you can very well just switch the captaincy between the two of them. And of course, this team rating takes into account 5 to 6 game weeks. So it is a rating that can kind of judge your team based on the mid to long term. And of course, in terms of game week 1 alone, I have 65.7 predicted points. For those of you who kind of use predicted points as a metric, I usually try to aim for 65 to 70 predicted points every game week. That is a good average to aim for. So 65.7 predicted points here, pretty good. And in terms of the game week specific rating, it's also 91%, so quite high. So I just do like this team in general. And maybe looking ahead into the next few game weeks. For game week 1 specifically, it is likely to line up as shown in this tool here. Exactly as in the graphic just now as well. So Sells, Munoz, Mykolenko, Vardiol. Midfield, it's Salah, Nkunku, Eze, Gordon. And then up front, it's Haaland, Wood, and Isak with Salah as the captain. So going into game week 2, The rating is also still very high. For the game week specific rating is 91% and 67.9 predicted points. So again, as I've mentioned, I try to aim for 65 to 70 predicted points. 67.9 is pretty nice to see. And of course, this is the game week where Munoz has West Ham at home, Mykolenko has Tottenham away, and Vardiol has Ipswich at home. So in defense, Mykolenko is the one that's probably going to have the toughest fixture. Do I really want to start Konza, who has Arsenal at home? Maybe not. So this is where Harwood Bellis, who has Nottingham Forest at home, could actually come in for Mykolenko, and there we see already the game week rating increases to 92%. The predicted points also increases to 68.4%, 68.4 points, sorry. So there we go. I mean, obviously not ideal that I have Chris Wood here and playing against Harwood Bellis, but again, in general, the overall predicted points just looks very, very good for this draft. And coming into game week 3 as well, this is when you probably can swap Mykolenko back in. Munoz has Chelsea away, so this is where you see Konza could come in here. So the rotation pairing between the Everton, Aston Villa, and the Crystal Palace defense, paired up with the Harwood Bellis option, just as a player that I can go for if he does have a good fixture. The overall rotation looks pretty good, so it kind of backs up why I like these cheap defenders, though they are from mid-tier defenses, but I do like the rotation between them. And yeah, so there we go with this draft. Back to game week 1 now. Let me know what you guys think of the draft. Obviously, no Trent and no Arsenal players. If you are able to fit them in and still have Salah and Haaland, let me know down in the comments below what your draft looks like. I would be keen to know. But if not, thank you guys for watching to this point. I appreciate it very, very much. And also, if you haven't checked out the collaboration video that I've done with FPL Friend, you can check it out in the video will be on screen just after this as well. So if you do want to check that out, I discussed a bit of his first draft and we have a bit of a casual chat as well. So that was quite fun. You can go check it out. But if not, I will see you guys in more game week 1 fantasy football 24-25 season content very, very soon. Bye bye.